She had only 500 naira left. Her last money. She needed it to get home safely. Lagos at night was dangerous for a woman alone. But when she looked into the hungry man's eyes, she made a choice that would change her life forever. She gave him everything. And walked into the darkness, alone. What happened next will make you believe in miracles. But before we continue this incredible story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to stay updated with more amazing African stories. Now, let me tell you about Amora. She was 27 years old. A nurse at St. Michael's General Hospital in Lagos. Slim. Dark-skinned. Eyes that carried both sadness and warmth. Her voice was soft like morning rain. Her hands were gentle like a mother's touch. And her heart was pure like fresh water from a mountain spring. She grew up poor. That poor. In a small village in Enugu State where electricity came once a week and running water was a luxury. Her father was a carpenter who died when she was 15. Just dropped dead one morning while working on a church roof. Her mother sold vegetables in the local market until her legs could no longer carry her weight. Amora worked hard. Harder than anyone should have to work. She earned her nursing certificate through sweat and tears and moved to Lagos to build a better life. But Lagos was not kind to her. Her salary was small. So small that she counted every single naira twice. Her room was tiny, a box where she could touch both walls if she stretched her arms. And the city swallowed money faster than she could earn it. Yet Amora never complained. Not once. She believed that God sees everything. She believed that kindness plants seeds that grow into forest. Even when her roommate Folek mocked her daily. "You are too soft, my friend." Folek would shout. "This Lagos will chew you and spit you out." But Amora would only smile. It was Friday evening. Amora had just finished a 12-hour shift at the hospital. Her legs ached like someone had poured acid on them. Her stomach was empty, growling and twisting because she had not eaten since morning. Why? Because her last 500 naira was meant for transport back home. The hospital was far. Very far. And walking was not an option at night. Not in Lagos. Not for a woman alone. As she walked toward the bus stop, dragging her tired feet, she saw him. A man. Sitting on the ground near an abandoned shop. Young, maybe 30 years old, but he looked rough. His clothes were torn and dusty. His beard was thick and wild. His eyes were tired, but something about them was different. They weren't empty. They were watching. Observing. Like he was studying the world around him. When Amora passed him, he spoke. His voice was low. Respectful. Almost gentle. "Good evening, madam. Please, I am sorry to disturb you. I have not eaten for 2 days. If you have anything, even 50 naira, I will be grateful." Amora stopped. She looked at him. Really looked at him. She saw the hunger carved into his face like scars. She saw the shame in his eyes, that terrible shame that comes from having to beg. She knew that shame. She had felt it before when her mother had to beg for medicine money. She opened her small bag and looked inside. One 500 naira note. Her last money. She thought about the dark roads ahead. She thought about the 2-hour walk. She thought about the danger of walking alone at night in Lagos where women disappeared like smoke. Then she looked at the man again. His stomach was flat, too flat. His hands were trembling. He had not eaten for 2 days. Amora took a deep breath. Then, without saying much, she pulled out the money and placed it in his hand. "Take this. Buy food. Eat something tonight." The man stared at the money. His eyes became wet. "Madam, This is 500 naira. It is too much. I only asked for 50. Amora smiled gently. It is all I have. But you need it more than me. God will provide for me. The man's voice broke. God bless you, madam. I will never forget this. Never. Amora nodded and walked away. She did not look back. She did not regret her decision. But her legs trembled as she realized what she had done. 2 hours. In the dark. Alone. She walked for 40 minutes. The streets became quieter. Much quieter. The lights became fewer. The sounds of Lagos faded into whispers. Her heart beat fast. So fast she could hear it in her ears like drums. Then she heard it. Footsteps. Fast footsteps. Behind her. She turned and saw 2 men walking toward her. No. Not walking. Hunting. Their eyes were fixed on her bag like hungry dogs looking at meat. One of them had something shiny in his hand. A knife. Auntie, stop there. Give us your bag now. Amara froze. Fear gripped her chest like a cold hand squeezing her heart. She could not breathe. She could not scream. She could not run. Her legs turned to water. The men came closer. One grabbed her arm roughly. His nails dug into her skin. The other reached for her bag. She closed her eyes and whispered, God, please help me. Then, suddenly, she heard a shout. Leave her alone. She opened her eyes. The beggar. The man she had given money to. He was running toward them like a madman. His eyes were blazing with fire. His fists were clenched tight. The 2 robbers turned. Who be this one? One of them asked. Before they could react, the beggar tackled the first robber to the ground. They struggled violently, rolling in the dirt. The second robber tried to stab him with the knife, but the beggar moved fast, dodging the blade and delivering a heavy punch to the man's jaw. Crack! The robber fell. Within seconds, both robbers scrambled to their feet and ran into the darkness, cursing and bleeding. The beggar stood there, breathing heavily. His shirt was torn. His hand was bleeding from where the knife had grazed him. He turned to Amora. Are you okay? Amora was shaking. Tears rolled down her cheeks like rain. You saved me. How did you find me? He smiled slightly. I followed you. I saw you walking alone, and I knew it was not safe. A woman who gives her last money to a stranger does not deserve to be harmed. Amora looked at him with new eyes. This was not an ordinary beggar. His voice was too calm. His courage was too strong. His words were too wise. What is your name? She asked. Tebena, he said quietly. And yours? Amora. Tebena nodded slowly. Amora. It means grace. It suits you. He walked her all the way home that night. He refused to leave her side until she was safe. When they reached her house, Fulek was sitting outside, fanning herself with a magazine. Her eyes widened when she saw Amora walk up with a rough-looking man. O.H.N. Amora, who is this? Thief. Area boy. What is happening? Amora explained everything. The money. The robbers. The rescue. Fulek listened with her mouth open. Then she burst into laughter. So you gave your last money to a beggar, almost got robbed, and now the beggar is your bodyguard. Amora, your life is a movie. Nollywood should pay you royalties. Before Tebena left, he looked at Amora and said, Thank you for your kindness. I will never forget it. Then he disappeared into the night. 3 days later, Amora was working in the hospital when a pipe burst in the supply room. Water flooded everywhere. Maintenance was called. A man in a warm blue overall walked in with a toolbox. Amora looked up. Her eyes widened. It was Tebena. He saw her too. His face lit up with a surprised smile. Amora. Tebena. You work here? He nodded. I just started. I'm a plumber. Part-time. They both laughed softly. The universe had brought them together again. From that day, they began to talk. During lunch breaks. After shift. At the bus stop. They shared stories. They shared dreams. They shared comfortable silences. But trouble was coming. Big trouble. One afternoon, Dr. Okonkwo, the hospital's medical director, walked into the supply room while Tebena was fixing a faucet. Dr. Okonkwo was a proud man. He wore expensive suits. He drove a white Range Rover. He treated junior staff like insects. And he had been chasing Amora for months, despite having a wife and 3 children at home. When he saw Tebena's dusty clothes and rough appearance, his face twisted with disgust. Who allowed this dirty man into my hospital? He shouted. Look at him. He smells like engine oil. Are we running a garage here? Tebena stood quietly. He did not respond. He did not fight. Dr. Okonkwo continued, Get out. I do not want to see you in this building again. People like you spread disease. Later that day, Dr. Okonkwo called Amora into his office. If that beggar ever enters this hospital again, you will be fired. Do you understand? Amora nodded silently and walked out, her heart heavy with pain. 1 week later, the phone call came. Tebena had collapsed at a construction site. High fever. Infection. Exhaustion. Someone found Amora's number in his pocket and called her. She rushed to the government clinic where they had taken him. When she saw him lying on that bed, pale and weak, barely breathing, her heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. The doctor pulled her aside. He needs medicine. Special treatment. It will cost money. Amora's salary was small. She paid what she could. But it was not enough. Not even close. She sat beside Tebena's bed, holding his burning hand, tears falling like rain. Then she remembered something. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small velvet pouch. Her mother's gold earrings. The only thing she had left from home. The last gift her mother gave her before she died. Amora held them in her palm, staring at them for a long moment. These earrings were her emergency fund. Her safety net. Her last connection to her mother. She stood up and walked out of the hospital. 30 minutes later, she returned with cash. She had sold them. Sold her mother's last gift to save a man she barely knew. Folake was furious when she found out. You sold your mother's earrings. For a man who has nothing. Amora, have you gone mad? This man cannot even buy you pure water, and you are selling gold for him. Amora answered quietly, He saved my life. I will never abandon him. Saved your life. And now he is draining your life. You are a fool. A complete fool. For 5 days, Amora stayed by Tebena's bedside. She slept on a hard chair. She bathed him when nurses were too busy. She fed him when he was too weak. She prayed over him every single night. And slowly, he began to recover. When Tebena recovered, he had nowhere to go. His room had been rented to someone else because he couldn't pay. He had no money. No family. Nothing. Amora looked at him and said 4 words that would change everything, come home with me. But when they reached her house, Folake exploded. No. 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 He cannot stay here. This is my house too. I will not live with a smelling plumber. Amora, choose now, him or me. That same day, Dr. Okonkwo summoned Amora to his office. I heard you've been absent. Taking care of your beggar boyfriend. How touching. His voice dripped with mockery. Then he leaned forward. Amora, I will give you one last chance. Spend one night with me. Just one night. And your job is safe. Amora felt sick. Sir, you are a married man. So what? Nobody has to know. Amora stood up straight. I would rather be jobless than be cheap. I would rather starve than sell my dignity. Dr. Okonkwo's face turned red with rage. Then you are fired. Leave your ID card on my desk. Get out. When Amora returned home, her bags were outside. Fulek stood with arms crossed. I warned you. You chose a plumber over your future. Both of you, get out. Now. Amora and Tebena sat outside in the darkness. No money. No job. No home. Tebena whispered, I have a friend on the island. Kenneth. Maybe he can help us. The next morning, they took a bus to Victoria Island. Amora watched the mansions pass by. Huge houses. Expensive cars. Swimming pools. Everything she had never seen in her life. They stopped in front of a giant white house with tall gates and security guards. Tebena, are you sure this is the place? He nodded and knocked. The gate opened. A handsome young man in designer clothes stepped out. When he saw Tebena, he burst into a huge smile. Tebena. Guy. Long time. He hugged him warmly. Then he looked at Amora and raised an eyebrow. And who is this beautiful woman? Tebena said calmly, this is Amora. The woman I told you about. The one I want to marry. Amora's breath caught. Mary. Kenneth laughed loudly. Oh. So you finally found her. The woman who gave you her last money. My brother, you don't catch him. Amora was confused. Brother. What is happening? Kenneth gave them a beautiful room in the boys' quarters. Amora couldn't understand anything. How did a poor plumber know someone this rich? That night, she asked Tebena, who are you really? He smiled mysteriously. Give me a little more time. Please. Trust me. The next day, while Tebena was out, Kenneth came to find Amora alone. His smile was different now. His eyes were calculating. Amora, he said smoothly, we need to talk. I know Tebena brought you here. But I must be honest. He has nothing. No money. No future. He is a plumber, Amora. A common laborer. You deserve better. He waved his hand around the massive living room. Look around you. This mansion. These cars. This life. This is what women pray for. And I can give it all to you. Amora felt anger rise in her chest. But she stayed calm. What are you saying? She asked, her voice steady. Leave Tebena. Be with me instead. I am rich. Very rich. I can give you anything you want. Just say yes. Amora stood up and looked him directly in the eye. Kenneth, I do not know what kind of woman you think I am. But let me tell you something. I did not follow Tebena because of what he has. I followed him because of who he is. He saved my life. He respects me. He has a good heart. And that is worth more than all the mansions in Lagos. Kenneth smiled. So you will not leave him? Even for billions? Not for all the money in this world, she said firmly. Kenneth stared at her for a long moment. Then slowly, he began to clap. Wonderful, he said, laughing. Absolutely wonderful. You passed. Passed. Passed what? Just then, footsteps came from behind her. She turned. And froze. It was Tebena. But not the Tebena she knew. He was wearing a crisp white shirt. Expensive shoes. His beard was trimmed perfectly. He looked like a king. Kenneth smiled. Amora, allow me to reintroduce my cousin. Tebena Okafor. Son of Chief Clement Okafor. Owner of Okafor Construction, Grand Towers Hotels, and Atlantic Shipping. Net worth, 85 billion naira. Amora's legs went weak. The beggar she saved with her last money was one of the richest men in Nigeria. Tebena walked to her slowly. Amora, I am sorry I hid the truth. I needed to know if someone could love me, not my money. And then I found you. Tears fell from her eyes. So everything, the hunger, the suffering, it was all a test. Yes, he said, his voice full of emotion. And you passed every test. You gave me your last money. You sold your mother's earrings to save my life. You were thrown into the street because of me. And still, you loved me. He knelt before her on one knee. He pulled out a small velvet box and opened it. Inside was a diamond ring that sparkled like a captured star. Amora, you loved me when I had nothing. Now I want to give you everything. Will you marry me? She cried and laughed at the same time. Yes, Tebena. Yes. They got married 1 month later. And the villains. They faced their own downfall. Folake was left pregnant and abandoned by the rich man she chased. Dr. Okonkwo was arrested for stealing hospital funds and ended up in prison. But Amora and Tebena built a beautiful life. She built a free clinic in her village, naming it Grace Clinic. Every night, Tebena would hold her close and whisper, "Thank you for loving me when I had nothing." And she would smile and answer, "Thank you for choosing me when you had everything." Kindness may cost you something today. But it plants seeds that grow into forest. Never be ashamed to help someone in need. For you never know whose angel you are entertaining. And you never know which stranger will become your miracle.